Hello, good morning students. Please subscribe the channel, drop a like, share and comment. Today's transcription number 369 of Sir Kailash Chandra's volume number 17 on the speed of 100 words per minute. Start. Mr. Vice Chairman, I welcome the bill that has been brought before the House to remove one of the greatest difficulties experienced by law graduates. It is really a sad commentary that though the Advocates Act was passed only in the year 1961, government have had to bring in as many as 3 amendments within such a short period, and my fear is that government will have to bring in more amendments if they want this act to work well. I will presently point out the difficulties which will be experienced in the working of this act. We are now discussing the third amendment. At the time when the second amendment was being discussed in this house, my feeling was that the government would have to bring some amendments very soon, and my fears, like those of other honorable members, have come true. I am afraid the government will have to bring another amendment very soon. My submission is that the government ought to have brought a more comprehensive amendment to the old Advocates Act. I have no objection with regard to the change in the date. Of course, that was most necessary, but with regard to the rule-making power of the government, certainly I feel that it is a retrograde step. As a member of the Bar Council, I know that our Bar Councils are not working well. I do not know the conditions of other Bar Councils, but as far as my state is concerned, the Bar Council is not at all working well. When the Advocates Act was enforced and the new Bar Council was created in Madhya Pradesh, and when we first met, the Advocate General rightly said that it was a great day for the advocates, that the advocates were their own masters, that they were makers of their own destiny, that henceforth neither the High Court nor the government would interfere in the affairs of advocates, but the experience is that our Bar Council is ridden by factions, regionalism, groupings, and all that. As far as the difficulties in the present act are concerned, I would point out that there is provision for training. Now, the government is taking power for making rules. They should make it clear what training they are going to give. As far as we are concerned, it is difficult to give training to the law graduates. There is provision for a disciplinary committee. As far as Madhya Pradesh is concerned, the Bar Council has formed a committee of 5 advocates. I am also one of them, but the difficulty is that the 5 advocates belong to distant places and they cannot meet. The provision is that all the 5 must come together and decide the thing. Otherwise, even if one is absent, the whole proceedings will be nullified. Under the circumstances, the disciplinary committee has not met so far, and I am sure it will not meet any time in the future also. There are so many complaints against the advocates. According to the Advocates Act, neither the High Court nor the government can go into those complaints. It is for the Bar Council or the Disciplinary Committee. But the Bar Council finds this difficulty. The members cannot assemble and they are busy lawyers too. They will not find time to go into the complaints. Those complaints are lying and they are being filed in the High Court's office. There is another difficulty that there are some complaints which are old, namely those that came before the Act came into being. Neither the High Court can entertain those complaints nor the present Bar Council can, because according to the definition in the Act, an advocate means an advocate enrolled according to the Advocates Act. So, this council cannot take into consideration any complaints filed previous to the Act. So, this is another difficulty. My submission is that the amendment which the government is bringing now is only a half-hearted measure. I would request the government to go through the whole matter, taking the views of the Bar Council and also taking the views of leading lawyers, and then formulate new amendments or at least bring a comprehensive law so that the Advocates Act will work well. Otherwise, it will be useless, because although we were told that we were the masters, now we find ourselves helpless. Of course, the fault may lie with the advocates also or the bar councils, but the government must come forward and help the advocates and remove the anomalies which are pointed out. There are other anomalies also, but this is not the time nor the occasion. So, I am not dealing with them now. As far as these amendments are concerned, I welcome them. They were long overdue, and when the Second Amendment was being discussed, there was a suggestion that further time ought to have been given, but the government was so ridden by red tapeism that it always acted on the advice of the officers.